Having generated over $20 million in sales with my Instagram account is because I followed this one simple checklist. So I'm going to share with you how to optimize your social media, because the main concern that you might have right now is, well, I don't know how to brand myself instead of my social media. So let's teach you the concepts here. We're going to cover the high level concept. I'm going to give you the checklist of the things that you need. And then I'm going to show you a real world example of this in action and break down line by line what my account looks like so you can model after. Okay. So first off, you need to understand that your social media profile is a storefront. Okay, think about it like a restaurant. You could have a restaurant that's beautiful, that is aesthetic, that has nice lighting, that's got nice plants on the outside. And as you can see, if someone passes by, right, someone's walking down the street and they see it, they go, oh my gosh, that looks like a really nice spot. I'd like to go check it out. And the whole purpose of your social media in optimizing is just to attract the right kind of person. Versus, can you imagine another restaurant where there's trash on the outside, there's graffiti on the walls, there's a homeless dude sitting right there leaning on the wall, it smells like piss because someone urinated outside. You know what I'm talking about, right? You've ever gone to a city, a sketchy part of town, and you've seen this? Well, when people pass by, do you think they're actually going to want to go into your restaurant if the outside looks that bad? Probably not. And so what we want is to optimize and think of our social media profile, our Instagram, our TikTok, our YouTube. Today, we'll focus just on Instagram, but the concept is the same, which is if your social media is the storefront, you want it to look like a Lamborghini dealership. You want it to look like a Louis Vuitton store. You don't want it to look like the weird, ranky, sketchy part of town where you would never walk into the restaurant. Does that make sense? So if you think about it like a storefront and it's people's first impression, okay, you have to think through, how do I get them to even want to walk in? And then once they walk in and they try a bit of food, okay, that's the equivalent of them looking at your stories, taking a look at one or two of your posts. You want them to think, I like this food. I like this person's content. I want to come back more and more and more. And that's how you attract people, right? If people talk about attraction marketing, this is attraction marketing because you're bringing in your target customer, you get them to like your content and you build a relationship with them. And then now they start consuming your content over and over. So in terms of your actual profile, these are going to be the main things that you want to optimize for. We're going to talk about your Instagram handle, your bio, your profile photo, your highlights, and then the link in your bio. Okay. So very first off, if you go to my Instagram account, feel free to drop me a follow and just look at my content, Richard Yuzee. This is my main account. In this account, you see, first off, your handle should just be as simple as possible. It should honestly just be your first and last name. Okay. If you're doing some corporate brand, right, which is where maybe you're doing it for the name of your company, that's also fine. But you have to remember the principle that people buy coaches before they buy coaching. They have to buy into you, the coach. Okay. And even if you're like, well, I'm promoting someone else's offer, it doesn't matter. You are still the quote unquote relationship builder. So you're the face, right? So you have to just think, hey, what's simple? What's using the name? If you're like ZEE, what does that mean? I chose this when I was 17 years old in high school. That's when I made my Instagram account and Richard U was taken. And so I was like, this is whatever. Okay. ZEE. And then I chose it. It has no meaning to it. Okay. So that's why I chose that. But if you can literally just have it be your first and last name, easy. If you can do your first name dot last name or first name underscore last name, as simple as possible, because no matter if you change your offer, if you change what you do, what you teach, it doesn't matter because your name very likely will never change, right? So that's your handle. Then for your bio, I'll walk you through that right now, okay? For your bio, okay, it's going to be the 150 characters, which as you can see here, it's everything here below the handle. This section here is going to be incredibly important because it's almost like your resume, okay? Before in the job markets, whenever you go apply for a job, they ask you, hey, bring your resume, your CV, right? And you pass it over to them and they kind of skim through and they look at what you've studied and what you've done, right? This is the equivalent of that, but it's your social resume. It's when people go and say, well, what does this person do? And they read the bio to understand what exactly it is that you do. So this is simply just who you are when you think of your customer avatar. So for example, the very first line of who you help should always be attracting people that are very similar to you. So if you're a mom, then you should be helping other moms. If you're a dad, you should be helping other dads. Or if you're just a parent and you want to generalize to parents, moms and dads, do that because that opens your market, right? If you're a college student, then chances are you're probably going to help other college student or young 9-to-5ers, young working professionals. Okay. And the reason why I say that you might want to expand your market a little bit is because college students, though it's possible, and I personally did it when I sold a productivity offer to university students, it is a little bit difficult to finance because college students generally don't have as much money as someone with a job, right? And if you're a busy 9-to-5er, well, guess what? You're probably going to help other busy 9-to-5ers. So when you think through, okay, well, who's my CA? Who's my customer avatar? You got to think through, well, my customer avatar is just simply who I am as a person. Okay. Now the name and the title is going to be at the very top. Okay. So if you go to my Instagram here, you'll see at the very top here, this here is my name. Now this here, you can actually change. It doesn't have to be just your name. You can do your name and then also a little tagline of what it is that you help people with. So for example, I have a client that teaches moms how to do digital marketing. So she calls her, and she specifically helps ladies, women, right? So she calls herself the digital marketing lady boss. That's pretty cool, right? So it's her name, so it's her first and last name, and then she puts a little dash or a little hyphen, and then it says the digital marketing lady boss. Now for you, just think through, hey, what can I give myself a tagline of? If you're a fitness coach, you could call yourself the belly fat destroyer, right? The belly fat men's coach. You give yourself a nice little catchline, and then that just gives a little bit more context as to who you are. And then I like to keep your first name still as the beginning of this name section, which is what I'm highlighting here, because it makes it SEO friendly. So when people search you up, Instagram actually ranks pretty high in Google, your Instagram can show up. So that's why I do it that way, okay? Now, once we figure that out, now we want to go ahead and get clear on the 3 lines. I would not recommend 4. I know you can do 4 on Instagram, but when you do 4 lines, below, what happens is it kind of just gets a little too cluttered. So I like to keep it 3, okay? So the very first line is going to be, how can I help you? So if someone hits your profile, you want to think, hey, who's my customer avatar and how can I help that person? The second line is going to be the authority line, okay? The authority line meaning, hey, have you generated a certain amount of followers or views or sales? This is specific to if you're selling like a business coaching or digital marketing coaching product. If you're weight loss, you could say, I used to struggle being overweight, lost 25 pounds in 3 months. For example, if that's your story, right? For me, when I was teaching a productivity offer, I would write down, I've saved over 17 hours of my work week simply by using productivity hacks. So it's just whatever is related to your offer that's going to give you authority, that's what you're going to use, okay? And then line number 4, okay, is going to be the call to action. Now your call to action line, I would recommend 2 things. 1, make a DM CTA, because if you do DM CTA, people are going to send you a message and then you can actually build the relationship, answer the questions in the DMs. And it's incredibly valuable for number 1, market research if you have a new offer. So you can find out if there's any questions that they have that are unclear in your marketing. And number 2, it's incredible for actually advancing conversations towards a sale. Okay. So I would do a DM call to action, but then I would also have a downward finger emoji to your link in bio. Because that way, some people who are just like, well, I already know I want to buy this, they're just going to directly click on the link. And just having the downward finger emoji causes them to want to take action a lot faster than if there was no call to action. Hey, if you want this checklist I'm teaching you on right now, just go to my Instagram, drop me a follow, and then just message me one word, doc, and I'll send this Google Doc to you right now. So you'll see here, if I break this down, now I kind of flipped it, right? I did authority line as number 1, and then number 2, I did the I help statement. So it's interchangeable. Play around with it. There's no perfect formula. But you can have your authority as line 1 or your authority as line 2. But you can see I wrote down here, broke to 20 million in sales by age 25. And then for me, I added a little cross here because as a Christian man of faith, ministry is also really important to me as well as business. In fact, I do some ministry within my business as well. So I add that in there. And then that attracts other people who are believers, other people who find the Christian faith to be really important. Again, it's all about who you are as a person, right? So if you're not Christian, then don't auto-mastermind. So that's my first line, authority. And then I also give a little bit of my personality, which is, hey, I'm a man of faith. Secondly, okay, you're going to go ahead and have the I help statement. And again, this could be your first line as well. So the I help statement for me, because I used to work a 9-to-5 job, is I attract other 9-to-5ers. So therefore I say I help 9-to-5ers make cash flow without their own products, websites, or showing face. Now this right here is called a TMS. That stands for Transformation Marketing Statement. And as soon as I'm going to share with you here, in 2 minutes, I'm going to share with you how to make this. But this is the statement of basically, I help this person get benefit without things that they don't like. People don't like building their own products. People don't like building their own websites. And some people are a little introverted. They don't want to show their own face. So all the things that they don't like, I show them how to do it without doing X, Y, and Z, right? And then as you can see, I have a DM call to action for DM me the word how for free course. Okay. And notice how I use a word that has as few letters as possible, because remember, there's a character count limit here. I believe it's 150 characters. So if you have a really long word like, oh, let me go back here. If you have a really, really long word like, I don't know, complicated, right? Or if you have a line like, help me, if you have a phrase or multiple words, that would not be good because you're wasting your digital real estate is what I like to think of it, right? So DM me how for free course. And then if you notice here, there's a downward finger emoji because some people will DM me. And then other people, when they see that, will go, oh, he's pointing down to the link in bio. So then people click on the link in bio, right? And then in the link in bio, and I just clicked on the link, this is to one of my free courses. If you haven't gone through this yet, I would actually strongly recommend you go to my Instagram and watch it. It's really valuable. It's about 20 minutes long where I show you step-by-step how I've scaled from 0 to over 300,000 a month with a digital product business, step by step. But the point is, if you look at my example with this, All you want is to give really valuable piece of content here in this. Does that make sense, right? Because if you give a really valuable piece of content, that's how you get people to actually want to work with you. You always need to give more and more value. And so I would recommend you make a short free course. It doesn't have to be long, 10 minutes long, 20 minutes long, and over deliver for all of your audience members by giving them a free course. That's the best way to actually move forward. Cool. So that's going to be how you optimize your profile. All right. Now, the next thing I want to cover with you is going to be the transformation marketing statement, as I'd mentioned. Remember this line here that I wrote down here? I help 9-to-5ers make cash flow. That's a TMS. Okay. So let me show you now how you can come up with your own TMS. So you want to fill in the blank here, and you can go ahead and just use this Google Doc, and you can just go ahead and type it in here. But here's the general premise of what a TMS should look like. It's I help who, okay, and remember that's your CA, your customer avatar. I help who get outcome so that they can get to dream without old way by using new way. Now, if you notice, there's multiple different components of this, and I don't include all of these components in my own Instagram because just for the sake of character account. But the reason why you want to write a TMS this way is because now that you have this is almost like your one sentence business plan. And this is going to guide all of your marketing decisions in terms of how you brand yourself, in terms of what kind of free content you put out there, in terms of what value you share, because this kind of just encompasses everything within your business. So I would really strongly recommend you just take, a solid 10, 15 minutes, sit down and do this exercise. So the who is pretty simple, right? The who is going to be people exactly like you. We talked about that already. People who can relate to your story and background, and likely it's just who you were before you solved the problem. Okay. Number 2 is going to be the result-driven outcome. So the more quantifiable the result can be, the more people are going to be attracted to it. So for example, if you're selling a fitness offer, it could be losing a certain specific amount of pounds, right? Hey, I help people lose their first 10 pounds in the next 3 to 6 months, right? It could be very, black and white. If you're selling a relationship offer, I help people find their dream partner. I help people find their dream girlfriend, boyfriend in the next 6 months or less, right? Maybe if you're selling a university offer, I've had clients of ours, mentees, who specifically sell an offer on how to get into the dream university. I help students get accepted into their desired university, right? And if you're selling business consulting, I help people scale to a certain business revenue growth. You see how simple that is? So it's just get to whatever the outcome is, okay? And that, by the way, is also what the dream is. The dream is basically a dream state of mind, right? So a dream state of mind would be so they can travel the world, so they can quit their 9-to-5 job, right? So they can actually feel comfortable in their bikinis. So they can, and then it's whatever your prospect always wanted. And remember, it's really easy to think about it because you just think about yourself. What did I really want when I used to struggle with my weight if you're selling fitness? What did I want when when I was single and I didn't have my girlfriend yet, when I wasn't married yet? You think about what you had, and that's what you're going to use, okay? And then finally, you want to have an old way and you want to have a new way. And this, I give credit to Russell Brunson. I learned this first in Expert Secrets in one of his books. Great book I would strongly recommend, so I want to give credit where credit is due. But the old way is going to be the thing that you're going to acknowledge that most of your prospects have probably already tried, but it didn't work out. And just by you stating that gives them confidence in knowing, oh, okay, well, I know for a fact this guy knows what he's talking about. I know what this girl is talking about because he or she is saying that there's a new way. Does that make sense? So the old way would be strategies that they tried before that they did not get results with. It was something that maybe they didn't want to do, right? Or maybe it's a limiting belief for them, right? And then the new way is what I call the UM. That's the unique mechanism. So it's something related to the client's desired outcome, and it ends in something like accelerator, formula, blueprint, system, right? So for example, my new way of doing things, and this is what I teach our mentees, is digital arbitrage, right? The old way is going to be all the things that clients have struggled with in the past. People have struggled building their own websites. People have struggled with creating their own products. People have struggled with basically not knowing what content to create. So those are all the old way things. And if you go back to my Instagram, you'll see that I talk about the old way without their own products, websites, showing face. So this would all fall under the old way category, right? And then the new way, I omit from here because I ran out of character space. So this is what I'm saying. You don't have to stick to it word for word, right? But at least having this exercise done will guide you in all of your marketing. So go ahead, take 10 minutes and just fill out the transformation marketing statement. And then once you're done with the statement, you can go ahead and you can optimize your profile and get that ready to go. Now you know how to set up your Instagram profile. In this video right here, I'm going to share with you the exact strategy to consistently make viral content without doing the heavy lifting yourself. And if you're making your own high ticket offer and you don't know how to get started, In this video here, I'm going to share with you how in less than 24 hours, you can create your own high ticket offer to change people's lives and generate income and impact. I'll see you in one of those videos right now.